What's up, everybody? Trader Nick coming at you today. I got another One Piece card game video, and this time we're talking about my 3 favorite decks to play in the OPO2 format and in just the One Piece card game in general. The 3 decks that I'm having the most fun with, and it just helps that they're good, and they're all characters that I like in the One Piece anime and manga, so it all comes together. And I'm just going to talk about these decks here and just what I've been doing with these lately, and we'll get into that right now. But if you guys can, before all that, do me a favor, like, dislike, comment, subscribe, do all those things for me. And of course, I'm always gonna have One Piece card game content, like always. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. That is the goal for this year. Right now I'm at 500. We know we're 4 months into the new year. We're almost 5, and we're almost getting there, man. If you guys can, man, please hit that like, subscribe, and I'm always gonna have One Piece card game content. I do other things too, so yeah, let's get into that. So Doflamingo, we're not going to do this in any order. I'm just going to say that Doflamingo is probably my second favorite deck that I like to play. I've been playing it since OPO 1. I liked it a lot back then. I just moved away from it because, Law. I went to go play Law. 2 reasons. One, Law is just really good. And second reason is Law is one of my favorite, if not my favorite character in One Piece. And Doflamingo is one of my favorite villains of all time in One Piece. You know what I mean? And the fact that he's good is just, cherry on top, right? But yeah, I went away from him in OPO 1. I came back to an OPO 2 2 weeks ago. Just like I was like, man, let me give this deck another shot. And I've been loving it ever since. And this deck for me has been working very, very well. Let's just go over Doflamingo's leadership and how great it is. Reveal the top card of your deck. If that card name, well, first of all, it costs 2 Dawn. Put 2 Dawn on Doflamingo and activate a Dawn, you can use this effect. Reveal the top card of your deck. If that card is a 7 Warlords of the Sea character. Now, this is the one thing that I want them to change at some point. I hope if they ever reprint this card, I would like for it to say Don Quixote family member as well. The only reason why I would say that is because maybe down the line they add some blue cards that are Don Quixote family members, like Treble, Pika, characters like that. Because I want them to be able to summon those characters as well, not just 7 Warlords of the Sea. But that's later on down the line, right? I'm just saying I wish they would have done that, had the foresight to put that in there, so it'd be really cool. But yeah, with the cost of 4 or less and play it rested. Now it's really cool to do. You could just summon a character from the top of your deck and just summon it. Now you're asking yourself like, well, wait a minute, that's kind of random, right? I mean, you don't know what the next card's going to be. How do you know to summon a character? Well, we'll get into that. This deck I run for Perona. That's standard. Perona, when you summon her, she's a 1 cost. Look at the top 5 cards of your deck. Put them in any order on the top or bottom. And this is how you do that. You play Perona. Doflamingo loves to go first. You play this card, turn 1. Reorganize the top 5 cards of your deck. And how I like to do it is my thought process when I look at the 5 cards is like, okay, draw you, summon you, draw you, summon you, right? And the order I pick those characters to be in just depends on what I want to do, right? Like if I get a Teach or something like that, I might want to summon Teach with the effect because, it's crazy what he could do with the effect. Or if I want to put out a blocker like a Bartholomew Kuma because I have a Pacifista in hand, things like that, right? And the card I draw is going to be cards that I cannot summon or use. Like, for example, if I see an event or if I see a 9-cost Draco Mihawk or whatever and I want to draw them, I make sure to put them in that order. Like, it's going to be summon, draw, right? So that's how you do that. So then you look at the top 5 cards of Perona and then whatever. Doflamingo's another card, 3-cost blocker. This card's absolutely ridiculously amazing. Look at the top 5 cards of your opponent's deck. I run about 4 of these. Put them in any order, right? Top or bottom. So this does the same thing as Perona, right? And you notice that towards the bottom here, it says Don Quixote Pirates. Like, I want them to add that to Doflamingo at some point. So yeah, that's really cool. So these 2 cards do that for you, right? It gives you information, and then you can organize how you want to play. Don't use Doflamingo's ability. You want to use as much as you can. I run 4 Draco Mihawk. Really, this card has gotten even better with OPO 2. Banish a card, 7 cost or less to the bottom of the deck. It's just insane. It's so good, so backbreaking it could be. I wish this was 8 cost or less because he's Mihawk, but it's 9 cost or less. I'm not complaining. It's really good. 4 Bartholomew Kumas for the blocking, and you could summon him as well because he's a 7 Warlords of the Sea member. And the package I run with Bartholomew Kuma is I run 2 of the big boy pacifistas that are 6,000 attackers and 1 blocker. I like the ratio 4-3. I think it works really well. The only time you ever see me summon him with Dawn or use Doflamingo's effect is when I have a pacifista or blocker in hand, so that way I can use his effect. Because with Bartholomew Kuma, if he's ever KO'd, you could summon one of these cards from your hand, and it could really put pressure on your opponent. I run 4 Boa Hancocks. She's a blocker. She could also be summoned with Doflamingo's effect. If you put a Dawn on her, if she blocks, you draw a card if you have 5 cards or less. If she attacks, you draw a card if you have 5 cards or less. Really solid card. The 2K counters are 4 Dracula Mihawks, 3 Alvidas. These 2 cards are mostly just 2K counters, honestly. It is what it is. I mean, Mihawk, you can use him to attack sometimes, but I don't really bank on it. One of the best cards in the deck is this Gecko Moria. You can return a character from your trash to your hand if you summon him. So Doflamingo really loves to summon this guy with his effect. Summon him, refund the card back to your hand. What I like to do is get back a Mihawk, get back a Teach or whatever. But mostly it's getting back the 2K counters is what I like to use him for. The hot spice of the deck, honestly, so then now we go to the new cards that were added from OPO2, which is a Gecko Moria. He's a 4-cost, 7 Warlords of the Sea character, and he's a 6,000 attacker. The minute you summon this character, they have to deal with him. If they don't deal with him, it's a 6,000 attacker coming your way, right? Really, really solid stuff. He's just, and how I see it is, like, I see him as another blocker. Right? When I use Doflamingo's effect, like, and I summon a character, like, I see them as another blocker, right? They have to deal with that character. If not, their board's just going to get overwhelmed and just destroyed, right? So, that's how I view the deck. So, the hot spice that I have in the deck right now, so, like, we'll go to the rest of it. I mean, Teach, I run him at 2 because I don't have Jinbei. It is what it is. That card's way too expensive for me to have right now. If I had Jinbei, he just takes his spot here. Or takes someone else's spot. Who knows? But really the hot spice of the deck here is like these cards here. The Luffy, the reason why I came to this conclusion with Luffy, and granted you can't summon him with the effect. He's a 6-cost anyway. You can't do that. There was a point in the game I played against Kinemon like a week ago, and it got to the end game, and I kept telling myself, I was like, man, if I had cards that could return, I'd be really good. Because he had like 2 blockers on the field, and I could have won for a game if I returned one of them. And I just kept telling myself the entire time, like, if I had Luffy, I mean, that's instant. I remove the blocker, and then I could just attack for game. And he has double attack, and you have to deal with him, right? Is the deal. And he's just really solid. I like him in the deck. I like what I mean, the double attack is just like cherry on top, but the returning the blockers and all that's what's really important. This card is ridiculous. You might not think much of this card because it has no effect, but he's a 6-cost, 8,000 attacker. Like, he's really strong. And he's a 1,000 counter. I only run 2 of him. I don't run any more of him at all. I think 2 is the perfect number. It's the solid number to run him at. But once you summon him, I mean, if you have the Dawn, summon him immediately. They have to address him. If they do not address him, he's a 6,000 attacker coming at them and just harassing them the entire time. He is so good in this deck. And the other thing is the Aberrus Brickfist. This is like the 3, I think, the spicy things that I run in here. The Aberrus Fist is solid, especially for endgame. You can return a blocker, or you can do something like that and just really pressure board. And you might be telling yourself, well, you run one of Luffy and one of this. Are you ever going to see it? Well, the fact that I have Perona and the fact that I have Doflamingo being summoned constantly, I can get information and just look at the cards and hope to search for them or get them, right? Like, you're going to see it at some point, maybe not as consistently, but you can take a chance. I mean, you get if you do this, let's just say you play an entire game and you summon these characters, you're going to get 8 chances to see them. So, that's what? You're looking at 5 cards. 5 times 8 is what? 5 times 8 is 40. So, you're looking at 40 cards, possibly. Not that you will, but that's a possibility. So you're probably going to see it. Your odds are probably high. So that's it for Doflamingo. That's really cool. And the next deck, obviously, this is my second favorite deck. And my third favorite deck, Z. I won a little local. I won like an 8-man local this past weekend with the deck. And, I mean, this is basically what I'm running for Z. I know I've done a deck profile on this before. Only thing I changed really was adding Kudozumi Higurashi And I'm doing a 7 cost. King now was doing the 6 cost, but I think the 7 cost is really more effective. He KOs 2 cards if you have Kuzan out. It's really, really strong. But basically the whole philosophy, like this deck is all about wiping your opponent's board and countering so you don't die and getting to 10 Dawn. Once you get to 10 Dawn, you summon Kuzan and you wipe their entire board and you just watch your opponent just melt. My last game was against Law and it was really cool. I mean, I played it really well. I had some things, I had a lot of things go my way, which is I had 2 impact waves that went off, and then my opponent just whiffed with Law like 4 times, which is sad. And then by the time he whiffed, I mean, it was kind of too late. I summoned Kuzan, and then I just wipe Law's board, and it's just game from there. This deck is so fun. It's really fun. It's really good. I think it's a middle of pack kind of leadership, but I mean, it's so good. It's so fun to play. It's very, very enjoyable. You know, and it's just really cool. This deck makes you really, really happy, and I do enjoy playing this one a lot. But yeah, basically you just play till you get to 10 Dawn, summon Kuzan, melt their board, end the game. Basically, that's all you do. My first favorite deck, of course, is Law, and I've been playing since OPO 1. I struggled with it at the beginning of OPO 2. I wasn't understanding what I needed to do, and, you know, everybody's been winning with Law, and I'm like, okay, what's going on, and what am I not doing? What I wasn't doing, and this is on me, and I should have recognized this, and this is the deck right here. This is what I play, and I love this ratio. I played it on Monday, and I won another local with Law. So I won a local with Z on Sunday, and I won a local with Law with this deck. Doflamingo Step not won a local with, but this deck here, you know, won it, and this deck does really well against the meta. It just does so well, and the thing that I was missing was I was running like 2 of these restand Laws, and I should have been running 3 or 4. I upped him to 3, and the deck just seems to move a lot better now. And I added 1 Zoro here. I know everybody's playing 2 Rush Zoro. I run about 3. I run 3 Rush Zoro, and I run 1 of this guy. Honestly, and it just seems to work fine for me. I mean, this is probably not the correct ratio, but for me, this is how this works. And it did really well for me on Monday. And it's really, really solid. This deck is really fun to play. It does take time to learn. One thing about me is, like, I don't like straightforward decks. Like, I like decks that have a little bit of thinking and, you know, some creativity that you can have. And I feel like these 3 decks, at least for me, do that for me, right? And to each their own. And everybody can have their different ways of playing the game. Me, this is the way I like playing the game, and it's absolutely fun. You know, Law is just very, very creative. You can just how many crazy things you can do with the leadership. I mean, being able to spend two Dawn, grab a character, and then summon a 5 cost it's just wacky. And the trick with Law is, when you use his effect, you don't have to use the other part, which is the summon. So yesterday I had a game where I played against Kinemon, and I needed another 2K counter in my hand, and I already had 5 cards out. And I was like, okay, I can't really return the Brook. And then I remembered that I can activate the effect, but not summon. So what ended up happening was I did what I needed to do. I returned Brook to my hand, which added another 2K counter, which helped me survive and win the game. It's just little tricks like that with the deck that's just so really cool and really creative. And I really think this is probably the best deck in the format. I could be wrong. But I feel that way, and it's a fun deck, and it's absolutely great. I feel like I'm playing an entirely different game than my opponents are, and the amount of thinking and the combos that I could do with this deck is absolutely ridiculous. I mean, yesterday I did a 14k attack to Whitebeard. He survived, and then I restood him back up with Law, and I did it again. Like, that was so fun to do. Like, that was so ridiculous, and this deck allows you to do that, and it's so cool. It helps that Law's probably my favorite character in One Piece, right? Like, he's my favorite character, probably the best deck, probably one of the best leaderships, and it's ridiculous. So yeah, guys, that's it. Those are my 3 favorite decks. Let me know down below what your favorite decks are to play in the One Piece card game. And if you have any changes that you would make to the Doflamingo, Law, or Z deck, let me know down below in the comment section. Of course, like, dislike, comment, do all those things, and help me get to 1,000 subscribers. And of course, I'm always going to have One Piece card game content. If you guys can do that for me, that'd be wonderful. That'd be really great. And I really do appreciate this game. I love this game a lot, and I can't wait to talk more about it. Take care, guys. Have a wonderful, blessed day. I'll catch you on the next one.